came out of a meeting of retirement board of representatives of the retirement board and our board appointee to the retirement board. And the feeling was that with a new retirement administrator and a lot of issues that are coming up, that there would be a discrete set of responsibilities, joint responsibilities that needed to be discussed. And so that's the purpose of this ad hoc committee. It's specifically for 2009, and we thought we'd try something different and have it automatically cease to exist no later than December 31st, 2009, so that it takes care of itself in terms of having an end date. And so this is put before you for both whether or not you want to establish this committee and then the membership of that committee. And I'd be happy to answer any other questions, but I assume you can read the agenda.
Any questions? Go ahead, John.
It's not completely clear to me within the scope of this. Is there also the opportunity to review the performance of the retirement system investments and the issue of the unfunded liabilities and the excess earnings?
No.
That's a retirement board function. That wouldn't be the function of this ad hoc committee. Is our retirement representative?
By whatever means, I think this board needs to get there, because I think it's our responsibility to understand the entire universe of these operations and how it impacts the board and the county budget, and it most certainly does impact the county budget.
Well, there's no doubt about that, but Supervisor Smith is our appointee on the retirement board.
Understood.
So,
Well, I think council can clarify with respect to the delineation of those obligations and responsibilities, be it the Board of Supervisors or the Retirement Board or both. So I think this committee is slightly different in what it's attempting to do. We just adopted our action plan, which states that by late April, we will have a joint meeting of the Retirement Board and the Board of Supervisors. I think we also talked yesterday at our meeting about having either items coming to this body or workshop topics that would seek to provide additional information both to the decision makers and to the public about the pension obligation bonds, which truly is a county obligation, and in that process have, or perhaps at that joint meeting, have a flow chart that talked about the shared responsibilities and governance of retirement benefits, retirement investments. It's a rather complex system, and I think it does need more clarification, and there are many opportunities for education. But I think council can help us clarify what this body can and cannot do with respect to the oversight of retirement investments. That is the purview of the retirement board.
That's true, and I think that the whole concept of this particular ad hoc committee is to address those issues that the board and the retirement board have to work together on, such as the health plan, pension obligation bonds, things like that. What I think Supervisor McCowan is referring to is something that is definitely needed and should come to the full board as a full board discussion, not an ad hoc, not within an ad hoc committee. And that's something that should be ongoing with the full board. Yeah. I fully agree with you that those things have to happen, but that would be a full board. Mm-hmm. You know, you get too much in the ad hoc committee and then it's no longer an ad hoc committee. I think the ad hoc committee was trying to address real specific issues because with respect to the health care issues and the items listed here.
Supervisor Colfax.
Mr. Chairman, as I sit here listening to this, I'm thinking this is not yet another committee that I'm going to take on. We could be saving ourselves in the county $180,000 or $200,000 in terms of if we just did the retirement system and not passed it on to an independent retirement board. What it seems to me we cut them off from us to take care of their business, the retirement system, and now we have to come back in and have two members of this board. And quite frankly, I think here there's a limit to what I have to simply say there's some limits to how much this supervisor is going to do. I'm way over I am more overloaded this year with committee assignments than I have been in the past 10 years. 5 days a week with set committee assignments. And now what I'm hearing is we're going to have 2 members, any 2 of the 5 of us, that are going to have to become expert enough to convey to this board what the consequences, and John laid it all out very correctly and so forth. We didn't create this independent retirement board and pay whatever we're paying Jim Anderson to sit there and make decisions that we then have to go and review and act as if we're the board of the retirement board. I mean, I just find this just ludicrous. Here we're going to have an argument over some expenses, whether it's $100 or $200 for telephones and all the connections. We're going to argue about that, but we have no problem with paying out for a whole staff, a whole new set of buildings and so forth to deal with the retirement board. I don't know that that was a bad decision to go in that direction, but I'll tell you one thing, it's an expensive decision for this board to make in terms of its obligations to kind of oversee the oversight board that's supposed to be taking care of business. So I don't know what my complaint is here, other than to say, are we going to take on every responsibility where we have, because we have to be sure that those who are charged and are legally responsible for certain outcomes don't do their jobs. I'm sick and tired of countering assertions that are being made out of certain quarters here about what is happening and not happening with our whole retirement pension system. And the fact of the matter is, now we're going to officially respond as a committee, and we're going to do it as a board so that we can adjust this. We should be calling Jim Anderson and the retirement board technical people into here to say, okay, we need an explanation, but do we need another committee? Well, I'm done with it. I mean, I'm done with my tirade, but I really think here we can't push things away from us as we have with retirement, the retirement system and all of its problems and issues that we didn't create. We can't push it away from us, pay somebody a lot of money, give them new headquarters and staff and so forth, and then say, oh, by the way, instead of having just one member on the retirement board, let's have our own standalone oversight committee. Do you see what my concern is here? We're just overloading ourselves to the point of ineffectuality.
Well, Supervisor Colfax, that's exactly why we're discussing this issue. This discussion is about whether we want to even form
well, that's why I'm raising these things rather forcefully.
I personally don't feel, I feel that we have the administrative process set up through our retirement system. You know, if we want to report from the retirement system on any aspect of it, whether it's the health insurance premiums, whether it's the investment returns or where the investments are. I mean, we can call agendize and have that done from the retirement administrator. That's I guess the advantage. You know, I was reluctant on that to go in that direction in the first place, as this previous board knows. Right. But you know, that's what it's set up for. So I oppose the form of this ad hoc committee because I think that the process is there. I think all I have to do is agendize it and have the.
But Mike, thank you. I appreciate that. But my only concern is here is that it comes back to the board no matter what we have out there. Right. And that's the part of it here that I find really very, very tedious and very irresponsible in terms of the fact that we have created this board, or we have cut this off from us. Go to them, lay it on them, because I keep hearing over and over again, but it's ultimately the Board of Supervisors' responsibility. I don't like being ultimately responsible for anything if I don't have the ability to affect the direction in which this or that item under consideration goes. We have responsibility, but no authority. That's what we've done.
That's not true.
Supervisor Smith.
Well, a couple points of clarification. Number one, we don't pay Mr.